If you're offended, well, we do not apologise. If you can look at this with an open mind and not take life too seriously, then you may just come away well and truly entertained.
Never fear, Sean Begg is here. And today's guest is Forget the Future. Welcome to caithness podcast. Right, anyway, we start off. That's good. That's good to do some warm up anyway. Yeah, just anyway. Anyway, where did the name come from? Forget the Future.
So basically, we've been playing since we were like kind of kids and stuff like that. So I think we were about like 16, 17 and just thought we were. Are you doing swear? Are we allowed to swear in it? No swearing.
Swear. Honestly, we're speaking about drugs in the last one. It's like blaming and shaming people. And I thought, fuck it, we can't put this. I had to cut some of it out. It's like such and such was it, you know. And I was, oh man, you can't say that.
Fucking so and so's mother is doing it.
It's
brilliant.
Proper caithness podcast. I haven't seen him for ages.
Well, basically, we were all just kind of like 16, 17, and we thought, like, what's the fucking wildest name that we can think of? And it was like weird things like like something strange, and then we ended up coming across that, and we're like, oh, that's cool as fuck, yeah. And now we're stuck with that, which is fine.
It's a good name. Like honestly, like when I heard about it, it was like me. It was like mind me Back to Future, but like you know, like it sticks in your mind.
I get a lot of people are like, remember he passed, and you're like, oh. So very much just like being young and thinking you're right cool, and then just coming up with a name and going, bang, that's the one.
means is all of you from caithness? Well, you're
so
not.
Myself and Jamie are from Thurso.
Mm-hmm.
Born and bred up there. Sam, our drummer, is from Invergordon. And then Cole joined last year, and he's from Coatbridge in Glasgow.
Oh yeah, Coatbridge. I was in Coatbridge. That was, what was it, a year and a half ago. I was doing extras for Two Doors Down there. It gets filmed in there. It's funny, like some
in Coatbridge.
Okay, yeah.
Like, so, you see Bowling Alley? What is it? Hollywood Bowling Alley?
Aye.
Well, it's BBC Studios next to that. What you would never know,
Right.
It gets filmed there.
They probably don't love people know because they get chased out.
Means what is it? It means where did it all start for you?
So it kind of just comes down to, like, I think a bunch of us when we were younger, was just really into myself with music. I grew up with like quite a bluesy family. A lot of my family members played a lot of blues and stuff like that. And then my father, you all know what that word is, Cole.
No,
My father introduced me to guitar and stuff like that, and I'm left-handed, but I only had a right-handed guitar, and I was like, oh, I'm not fucking buying a left-handed one, you know what I mean? Because where are you gonna find one of those? And then I just started learning to play guitar, got on a bit of Jimi Hendrix and Jake Bugg, and then started my working way back to the blues, and got a bit heavier Royal Blood and all that kind of stuff, and kind of worked my way around that. And then I ran into Jamie, who's actually my cousin. So, and then we ended up just kind of jamming and stuff together, and then we met a few boys here and there over the years, and we just kind of just loved it. And always, I think me and Jamie went, because we were in high school together, so we kind of decided from a young age that we were gonna do music, and there wasn't really anything else for us, pretty much. So we just kind of we've just kind of been bashing at it for years and kind of stuff like that, and just kind of being it loudy, like. But I'll let you answer your side of that, Cole, because he's the new boy.
Okay.
Well, it depends, like, what started the Forgetting the Future thing, or what started my...
Well, it's probably this year love of music, and for like where did it come from till it end up in this band.
Aye, it's kind of much the same as yourself there, Rob. It's like, grew up in a family who all did music. My dad was in a band in the early 90s and all that, so I grew up hearing all the cool stories and stuff, all the stuff that I wanted to do. And I much the same as you. I was in school and I definitely wasn't a treat to the teachers. But I kind of knew that music was kind of all I wanted to do and kind of all I was able to do. So I knew there was another option. And then
You don't want to be a mechanic or something?
I wanted to be a joiner. I was going to go to college to be a joiner, and then my dad told me that I wasn't allowed to go to college to be a joiner and I had to go do music. So I went to do music, and I loved it. I really loved it. And I started playing bass just about Glasgow and stuff until these boys gave me a message one day.
That's good. Like, it's funny. It's funny how your dad's like, no. Like, you think I'd be opposite way around. Like, definitely, for we're from up north, is like, if you're leaving school, you need to go into a trade, or you're not leaving school.
Aye.
And maybe forget the art side of it. Like I don't know. It's that sort of stigma up here. It's like it's really creative people up here, but I think it's that sort of like stepping outside the boxes in case maybe this is a pipe dreamer. Yeah,
definitely. I think you see it all the time as well, which is it's unfortunate, but I think this kind of comes down to the fact that you don't get that many like gigs, and if you're going to see a band play, like if you speak to someone that's not necessarily a musician or into music as much, and they're like, oh, I'm gonna fucking go and take that. You're going to Glasgow, you know what I mean, to Hydro to see it. And you just don't really get. Remember when I was growing up, I was too young for it, but they had the B Fest.
Oh yeah.
Like stuff, and I was gutted I never got to go to it because it was like an actual festival. You know what I mean? Up in Caithness, and they had they used to have the View play up there. I think Ocean Colour Scene and all that used to play.
I missed the View. I was gutted. I missed the View. That was in 2019, I think. No, 18. And I can't mind. I was working away, and I went up to go back up, and I missed it. Because that's one of my favourite bands. Like I do.
I think I was at that gig. I was me and my mate, and we were 17. And we snuck a crate attendance in.
Oh, brilliant!
I don't know how the fuck we snuck it in, but we snuck it in and popped it under one of the chairs. Just popped the jacket over it. And then we were I had obviously a couple of bairns cutting about a gig with a can attendance that they don't even sell there. They're like, so they're like, oh, you've caught us, you know what I mean? And then often they come back 5 minutes later and have another one. And then it happened 3 times, so they ended up just kicking us out. It was quite shit crack. But then we were like, oh, fucking God, man, because we were stuck in Wick then, you know what I mean? Yeah. And we just sat, by the black stage door outside the Wick assembly rooms.
Yeah.
We just sat tanning rollies all night. Which was fried. But we did a gig with Kyle Faulkner there in Inverness. Was it a couple of weeks ago?
Oh, was it?
Something.
A couple of weeks ago we supported him, and I was telling him that. Weird story. It's funny because we played with him. We played with him when we did that Pete and Diesel gig.
All right, did you? Aye.
Yeah, it was in Muirvord, and the View and Pete and Diesel played. It was magic crack. They're all right. You know what I mean? They're wild.
It seemed into life. It doesn't seem like it's staged at first. When I first I thought it's a comedy act, and then I started listening to their stuff. I thought, no, they're actually very good.
They managed to get body and big. I just seen a video of them at the weekend playing Glastonbury. I think it was Pyramid Stage they played. You know what I mean? It was fucking huge. But they're I think they're kind of more chilled out now these days. But they managed to get really, really successful, man. And it's for a Scottish,
because like I always thought they're like, well, at first when I first heard them, it was like in the lockdown, and it was that Justin Bieber song, and I thought, nah, this is a piss take, and then I was listening to it at a party, and I thought, oh no, they're really good. They mind me of Pogues a wee bit, and then all of a sudden you always see them on Alba and BBC the whole time,
Diesel, aye.
yeah.
Yeah, no, they're wild. They are absolutely fucking. They're they're genuinely just like Islanders. You know what I mean? We when we played with like our drummer Sam, he's played a bunch of gigs with them, because he's been playing music since he was like fucking 4. You know what I mean? And he's met them a couple times, and then obviously we met them when we supported them, and they're playing these gigs to like 5,000 people, and they genuinely are just chookers. You know what I mean? It's so funny because when we met them, like they're just cutting around with a couple of dubs and a couple of beers. They're just.
He said the singer's got maybe like two teeth between his mouth, like you know, there's hardly any teeth on him, and then he's got a.
He came out. He said, I think they had to have a break because they. What did they do? They were gigging so much, and they've managed to like they sell like fucking 1,000 tickets in London, which is mad. You know what I mean? And they had to have a break because they write songs about like working on the boats and cutting up a moor and all that stuff. So they had a break from music to go and work their normal jobs, just to come back and write about them. It was fucking like fair, you know what I mean? It's mental.
No, because I think he actually missed his fishing now. I mean, me watching a documentary about him, and you saying that because he actually missed his going out in the boat and just putting creels in there.
Nah,
it's mental.
Never to miss that.
Oh, I mean, what is it? It means I'm guessing this is your first band, you know, for being like how young you are, or have you been in a few bands before then?
Yeah, Marcel and Jamie, this is our first band. Sam's second band. We met our drummer in like 2018, I think it was, when we were younger. And Sam used to have a band called the Clampdown, and they supported us, and we were a good pally with them. And then we met Sam through that, and then like a couple of years later, we got in touch with him and he was available, and then he just fitted the band so well. Cole, you've had one or two, have you?
Aye. I've been a couple, playing just kind of with my pals and stuff. We're on to music, so just thought might as well get a go. Played a few gigs in Glasgow and all that. But,
you see, Cole, you see, like your music style was it sort of same as Robbie's, or were you into the more like metal scene, or what?
I think we actually get really lucky with that, didn't we? Because I think we do have very similar tastes in music. It's that kind of, I mean, it's a style that, I mean, you call it indie rock, but it kind of covers so many different types of music, doesn't it? But no, my most recent kind of the stuff that I was listening to was like Catfish and the Bottlemen and stuff, but Arctic Monkeys. So I think this came at a really good time because that's very much what the band are like as well, you know. So
because I was listening to the band, and like what is it, like I thought this is just me, it was one song what definitely mind me of Nirvana, and I'm like for being indie, it was a song that's got a Nirvana riff to it, or even Arctic Monkeys. This was another song, but it was good because this is all bands what I liked, you know, like you get little snippets of what is it? Aye, but I'm not sure if I'm picked that up wrong or how.
No, definitely, man. I think me and Jamie were speaking about it the other day actually, because we've been writing. We were just we had the studio a wee while back there, and we've kind of started focusing on a specific sound. You know, like prior to this, songwriting wise, I've kind of when I've written a song, it doesn't matter how like kind of you know like heavier side or a kind of more pop or rockier side. We kind of, if it's a good song, we go with it. But now we're kind of like really honing in on like the sound. So which is like it's like heavy indie, if that makes sense. Which is an odd one. It's like and the kind of like riffs in it are a lot just like say like Nirvana, Arctic Monkeys and stuff like that, and kind of darker, kind of heavier sounding, but then it's also still like a proper indie and then indie rock song, like Catfish and stuff like that, but just with a bit more bite.
Because even with what is it, Wombats, like I thought, just because like all of that, like indie scene for me started in like 2007, like where I can't mind my mates is changing over, like all of a sudden, like I was into metal music, my mates were into dance music, and then indie seemed to be everybody's got into indie all of a sudden, and I mind at first hating it, but now looking back, I actually really like it just because it reminds me of like all these house parties, and then like I've got into the Libertines in the last couple of years.
Yeah, it's funny because like I think because when I started kind of going and getting minced, that's and sessions and all that, it was kind of like it was there. A lot of monkeys and all that kind of stuff, but it kind of started coming more in with DJs and like all that kind of hard style and all that kind of stuff. But it has always been there, which is class. But like I liked with us because obviously we are full kind of like band kind of people and stuff like that. I love there are, like there's DJs that I love and stuff out there that are class. But yeah, it would have been cool to see that. Like everyone just absolutely go nuts for indie. You know what I mean? And losing their heads for that kind of stuff.
No, it was just weird. I could almost I can combine this sort of changing me. I think like 2005, but definitely 2007 was at a peak. Like it was just everybody was listening to indie. It was like, don't know, maybe it was just my age or because I was like late teens at the time.
Yeah.
But even up in caithness, I still think it's like this. I don't know. It's like Britpop. Like there's a lot of people they love Oasis, and they kind of dress like Oasis. Like sambas are not out of fashion. Never been out of fashion in caithness. Like when I first moved up, I got a pair of sambas just because like everybody's got a pair of sambas still.
It is funny actually because like funny you say that because when I was growing up, it was a lot of Stone Roses. Everyone was Stone Roses. It's not a band that I've ever really gotten into, but like, I can appreciate they're a good band and stuff like that. But it was never kind of my kind of thing. But like so much of that kind of stuff, and then like likes of Oasis, and I only really started getting into them when I got older. I always grew up heavier, and like when me and my mates and all that were going through like house parties and all that, it was all like Blink 182 and. And we were like Blink and Sum 41 and all that kind of stuff. So it was odd for us, because obviously everyone's into fucking Cascada or Stone Roses and that, and we're singing about willies.
no, but it's funny again. I can like the early 2000s. You got like what is it, a new metal scene, and there's like I was mad for Slipknot, like Korn and all the rest of it, and like Blink 182 is like another band, And again, because I lived in Edinburgh when I was younger. When I moved there years ago, it means just come up to holidays up to Wick, and back then it means like it was more like skaters were into that type of music. Means
yeah.
But I liked it.
Because Arctic Sam, he's 20, and he's only just hit his Blink 182 phase. Like everyone has it, you know what I mean? Doesn't matter what music. I think everyone does have it. Just hits you at different times.
It's good though, Like I would still listen to Blink 182, and this.
That's like been anytime soon. So this is Colby. He's not a Caithnesian, but
I'm not.
filthy. He's actually scared of caithness.
Oh well.
Just a little bit. Not. I'll go, but I'll leave as soon as I possibly can. You know what I mean?
Fair enough. I think my mates when they come up to caithness, it was the first time they went past Perth and they said, "Oh, we'll be here an hour," and like you don't know how far away caithness is.
We took him to Aberdeen and he thought he was in the Highlands.
I know. That's what annoys me. It's like when they go and say Highlands and they say Aberdeen. Even I would say at last Inverness, and then after Inverness is the Highlands.
Inverness is north, isn't it?
Nah. But not Aberdeen, nah. That's like,
since I've been living down here, I'm like like, oh, you're up north then, you're like Aberdeen area. And I'm like, no. But 5 hours north of that, like.
Do you ever get, what is it, people think you're from Ireland?
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah, exactly the same as me. Like, amount of people always thought I was from Ireland when I lived in Edinburgh. I was like, no.
It is weird. Yeah, I think it's like the word choice and like how fast we speak and all that crack.
I think it's because you got like Northern Ireland is a part of it, and they sort of sound like caithness.
Aye,
Yeah.
Aye, the same kind of, because they don't say what's a crack down here. Like
No.
they don't say. You don't say that. Do you?
People do say it, but it's because they're copying the Irish thing. You know what I mean? Like it's not like your standard kind of.
Yeah, it's weird.
What is that? Like a Glasgow accent. You ever see it like in a uni accent? You know, like what is it? You know, think that sounds up north a wee bit.
I didn't think so until I met Rob. And Rob, for being somebody who's about as far away from Glasgow Uni as possible while still being in Scotland, he's got a serious Glasgow Uni accent. You know what I mean?
We sound like that, because I came down here and I'm like, what was it? We were saying the word posh, and Jamie's like, we're not posh. And I was like, oh, we fucking do sound posh, don't we? Fucking
that's because you've still got all your teeth.
There's no common though. Just...
Because who were your influences? I probably touched on this already. I mean, it's like you're saying your dad was into the blues scene. What's quite funny because it's like up here, like in Caithness, it's either country and western, or like blues. Like my dad's mad for the blues.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny because see, so my dad, he was always into like BB King and Derek Trucks, a lot of Eric Clapton and all that kind of stuff. And then his dad, my grandpa, he was into like even kind of like more down the line kind of blues like Robert Johnson and all that kind of stuff. So I grew up on a lot of that. And my mum's a piper as well, and he throws a pipe band.
Aye,
So
cool.
like every couple of days, you just.
No, you can't play that like it's gently. Yeah, it's like it's all.
It just hits you. It just hits you. But it is funny because like she's a like a magic piper, and then my dad's like he's always had like a really great music taste, and like just listening to. I think it's weird. I think the thing that shapes you and your music taste is being in a car with your parents when they have CDs on.
All right. Yeah.
So, I don't know, because obviously being from Thursley, you're driving to Glasgow, and like I've got family in Airdrie, which is beside Coatbridge.
Yeah.
So it'd be a 6-hour drive. So my mum and dad would have fucking like loads of CDs and all that shit all the time. So it's that stuff that kind of I think that really kind of shapes your music taste and stuff like that. But they'd have everything on, you know what I mean? Like James Blunt, what's that? Faithless to Eric Clapton, to Johnny Cash, to all that kind of stuff. But I think my influences music wise was a lot to do with kind of like Jake Bugg, Blink-182 in the earlier days, Catfish the Bottlemen, and then kind of like stuff like a lot of Biffy Clyro actually. A lot of Biffy Clyro.
I'd say you're somebody else was only saying that Biffy Clyro was a big influence. Like I think I missed it by the time they came big. I was like sort of in my early 20s. But I think, but I can see why, because it's like because they're Scottish. It's straight away. It's relatable. It's like me with View. They're like Dundee, like Edinburgh's not that far away. Means it was his. Yeah.
It feels doable, doesn't it? Because they're just Scottish lads.
You just late till it. Means you seem Cole, or or was who's your influences?
It's kind of the same. It's a funny one, isn't it? Because you grow up and you discover more kind of music, like you were saying. You get to like your late teenagers and you find out about the Stone Roses and all that. And you think that it's brilliant, but I think you do circle right back round to what you were listening to when you were wee. You know what I mean? What your mum and dad had on. I've spoken about it before, but a huge influence for me, funnily enough, because it's a bit left field, is Madness. Like my I don't know if it was stuck on loop, but my mum's car used to have Madness baggy trousers on in it, and I used to always put it on. I think just because I thought it was a funny name, maybe, but I just used to love the tune, and it's proper stuck with me, So I feel like you kind of you are what you're given when it comes to that.
No, it's good. It's like no, like when you're speaking about Madness, like they were playing last year in Edinburgh, and I missed it and getting tickets, but they seem such a fun band. Even now, you just think they'd be a good band to see live, like that.
They're still going like hard. I seen them at Belgium when I was what age was I? Maybe like 18. And like 2018, I seen them at Belgium, and they were fucking still banging. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's cool, like that. No, but what was I going to say? It means Belladrum. Like I've been to Belladrum once. I'm going this year. Like my girlfriend, she does port. Yeah, she's doing a set era.
Oh, Jai.
Aye. What was that like? Like that's like doing the festival scene.
That was fucking nuts, man. That was see, my dad's been taking me to Belgium since I was a bear. You know what I mean? Like fucking. We've been going to that festival for so my dad he loves festivals and all that kind of stuff. So he he would take us down to that, and me and my brother, and we've been going to that since we were like 8. You know what I mean? Like for years. And then I was always like dreaming of playing at that festival because it was kind of like it meant more to me than like fucking Glastonbury. Obviously, it's in the Highlands. It's like everyone from Thurso and Wick went to it, you know what I mean? And then you've got all Inverness, and then you got people that come up from Glasgow and whatnot as well. So it was like, it was always just like the festival up north, you know what I mean? For my generation anyway. So like growing up, I always dreamed of playing it. And then I think we got our first call to play Belldrum in 2020 or 2021. I think it was just after, maybe 2022, just after lockdown.
Yeah.
And we got asked to open a hothouse stage. So that was mental because that was a massive outdoor stage. It wasn't the main stage yet at that point, but they were kind of trying it out to change it to the main stage because a hothouse used to be a tent, like a big tent.
I would say that was a video I seen. I seen 2 videos of you, and it was one where it looked like you're just sitting on hay bales as strumming, and the other one that was in a tent, and it was packed. Like it was like I was just watching it about 10 minutes before I started speaking.
Yeah. So the one with the hay bales was that was a session for Net Sounds.
Okay.
So that was really cool actually because we went to do that. We got invited when we played the tent. It was a seedling stage. That was kind of like our first later on that in the evening slot at Belldrum. So we got asked to come and do a Net Sounds live session, and the father-son singer was there. And we were getting a crack with Ross. He's sound as fuck. Like he's a really nice guy. And he didn't have a guitar because he was the session just before us. So he was like, "Can I borrow your guitar, mate?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, have at it." You know what I mean? I'm taking a photo, so when I sell it, you know what I mean? A couple of bucks, you know what I mean? So he played that, and then he sat and he watched our one as well. And we just got the crack with him for ages, and he was sound as fuck. And then we played the ceiling stage, and we cut about Belldrum, and we flyered for like all day. We just got like a dozen people to just flyer and all that shit. And then we turned up, and obviously with Belldrum now, the ceiling stage is next to the main stage. So when a band's playing and then they finish, everyone comes out of tent and they'll go either to the main stage or the bar, or they'll fuck off, somewhere else, while the other people's sound checking. So like it completely emptied out, and it was absolutely no one there, and we were sound checking, and then it was about 5 minutes to stage time, and it was still pretty empty, and we're like, fuck, is anyone going to show up? And then we disappeared, we did our warm-ups, got changed, come back, and the whole thing was just packed. It was just full to the brim, like out the door and everything. Like you couldn't get any more people in it, so there must have been like 500 people or something like that in there, and we were like, fucking hell. So that was really sick. And then that was the first kind of proper festival slot we got. And then the year after, we got asked to come back and do I think play second on the main stage. Hi, we're Forgetting the Future, and we're here at Belldrum with Net Sounds, and this song's called Leprechaun.
Go stop the clocks, it seems that everything you do has got you petrified. You don't want that much, but you know what you need to feel dignified. You don't get along, everybody thinks you should separate. You know you were wrong, we see the marks on your face, now we congregate. We hear reciprocal, I kiss you down, kneel before me. Safe to say the way that things played out is so appealing. I need a reason not to go out at the weekend. Be the reason that I don't go out at the weekend. You big as a leprechaun. Go and chance your luck, cover up your face, cover up your mug. A vivid imagery reminds me of the times that you wasted now. But it's all said and done when the only thing that rises is the setting sun. We're reciprocal, I can't sit down, kneel before me. Safe to say the way that things played out, it's so appealing. I need a reason not to go out at the weekend. Be the reason that I don't go out at the weekend. She makes me put my phone down. She said, I'm going to uni and you need me, I know. You alleviate my pain. Cause I don't wanna be a phone line to you. I wanna tie it out, but the settings make you weak. Why don't you figure things out, baby, on your own? You don't excite me anymore, oh no.
Stage, which was fucking nuts, man. That was really kind of full circle-ish kind of moment. So that was really cool. And then we did. Yes, it's a weird one because the stage is so fucking big, right? It's like
Yeah, man.
yeah, you got like the screens and a hanging PA, and you've got your name behind you on the massive screen, and it's like, what the fuck's going on? You know what I mean? And then we managed to we actually played to around like 2,000 people, which was mad. And you like look at the stage and you're like, that's fucking, you're shitting yourself, and you're like, oh fuck, that's a big stage. But then because this stage is so big, when you're standing on it, you can't see the roof.
Right.
Because it's so tall, so it doesn't feel as big when you're on the stage. It just feels like any other stage.
You see, being on that stage, right? Like, there's a couple of things we're going to ask you anyway, but like, you see, because with the lights, does it blacken out the crowd a wee bit? It means you don't really see crowds so much. I mean, does that help, or you just seeing like a wave of people going, oh fuck, you know, an actual like,
So like with festivals, you can usually always see the crowd, because you're at an outdoor event.
Yeah.
So, you know, a lot of the festivals lit up in other areas that, you know, you can see the crowd anyway. But when you play gigs, bigger gigs, a lot of like venues have rigged lights that are very close to the top of the stage. So sometimes you genuinely can't see anyone.
Yeah.
And it depends. It depends like what kind of like how you feel before you go and say. I like to see the because I like to like kind of know if there's going to be enough people for me to crowd surf there or not. Because if you're guessing, it's probably not going to go well. You know what I mean? So, so I like to know how it, you know what I mean, to like and feel it and just, you know, be there and stuff like that. But like so you, Cole, I don't know what you.
I think you're probably.
You can't even see the crowd anyway. Where you're at.
I can't see the crowd at all. I've got terrible eyes, but I think you're probably right about like it kind of depends how you feel going on, and it kind of depends what the crowd are like as well. If it's a crowd of people who all know you and love your music, then there is nothing better than looking out and seeing everybody loving it and singing along and stuff. But it can be really daunting, going down south and stuff where people maybe don't know you as much, or right enough, we had an amazing reception down south on tour, but if people are just kind of standing listening to you, looking at you, then it can be a wee bit like, all right, they're checking me out, they don't know if they like me yet, you know what I mean? So I think, as you'd said, Rob, in a lot of like small venues, like the crowd does get blacked out a good bit, which I find helps me a wee bit, so I don't have to deal with it, you know what I mean?
It's good because it's like, you know, at the end of the day, like you're on stage, it's vulnerable, you know, like even how good you are, or you know, of like this is your dream, you know, you're still like, you know, all eyes on you. But I seen another video of yours, and it was down south. This when you're speaking about it, and there was one in Liverpool, and there was another one in Sheffield, and I really liked the one in Sheffield. It was in a pub, but it looked really good for a music video.
Ah, yeah, yeah. I know you get some really cool venues. Like, we've been lucky enough to play some like really fucking nice places, big and small. Do you know what I mean? And in some small venues, you know, you can even beat the big ones sometimes. Like, you know, depending on, and it's different as well because every city's got a slightly different kind of
Like,
like their crowds and stuff like that. So you know, like at Aberdeen, when we go to Aberdeen, Aberdeen's just fucking nuts, man. They're absolutely wild. Like, I love it. It's probably one of my favorite places to gig is in Aberdeen because every time we play there, it's always like the gig's always packed out and everyone's just fucking giving it 110%. You know what I mean? Like
that's good.
It's kind of like it's kind of like a big Caithness, Aberdeen.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people from Caithness go to Aberdeen as well, which, you know, obviously people from Caithness move to Aberdeen know of us because we're from Thurso as well, so they'll come along and they'll bring their pals to Aberdeen and stuff like that. But you've even got like a big local following in Aberdeen as well, and they're just absolutely wild. It's the best crack ever. You know what I mean? When you turn up to a gig and you're 5 hours away from home and it's sold out. You know what I mean? It's like, what the f- going on here? You know what I mean?
That's cool. Like, no, you're right with Aberdeen. Aberdeen, I always thought was a big wick. Like, you go out on a night out and you're bumping into people from Caithness. You know, it doesn't matter what pub you go to, you're finding somebody who's from there. Like,
It's funny, isn't it? Yeah.
yeah, it's just, I mean, but going back to Belladrum, like, honestly, that must have been like a staple mark. You know, it's like you say, that was one of the festivals you always want to be in, and you done it. What is it, 3 times?
Yeah, man. Yeah. So the last time was last year. So we did it 3 years in a row. We were like very first slot on the opening day the first year. So, you know, like it was like, you know, like the very first.
Yeah.
It was a Thursday. Like half the festival hadn't even arrived yet because it was, you know what I mean. And it was the very first slot at like 12 in the afternoon, and then the second year we got 8 o'clock in the evening on the one of the smaller stages, and then that was absolutely packed. And then last year we did obviously the main stage, but we did a secret show as well at Belgium last year at the Bella Bar.
All right.
And that was just fucking nuts. We only announced like on the day, and it was just fucking heaving as well. You know what I mean? It was just absolutely packed. So we played that weekend. We played the smallest stage of Belgium and the biggest stage of Belgium, and it was fucking both as good as each other, man. Like it was a proper dream. You know what I mean? To just even just when you do play a big stage like Belgium main stage. So Belgium main stage is that's a stage for 20,000 people.
Yeah.
That one. So you know everything's fucking perfect, man. You go on. They gave us risers for like the amps and the drum kit.
Okay.
It gets set up backstage, and then the crew, like the stage techs, they'll when your changeover time comes on, you'll be backstage, kind of looking out of the crowd through the curtain, and put all your shit on, put it in place, make sure everything's fine. You jump on for like a line check, and like it's like the thing is where I don't know if you've ever used any of your monitors, but they can be really fickle depending on where you play, which is like in like earphones when you're on stage, so you can hear yourself and all that kind of stuff. So it takes a while to do this because, you know, every band member's got something different. So I'll have a bit more of my voice, a bit more guitar for pitch and kick drum stuff, and Jamie might have a bit more of his guitar, a bit more, you know what I mean, all that stuff. So it takes a while for like 4 people to do it, and you go on and you go 1 2 1 2, perfect, absolutely perfect, like first time, and then you know like the sound is just insane. Because we always think, like, we always speak about it and we're like, we're fucking, it's really annoying because we'll never actually get to hear what we sound like live because we're all on the fucking stage, you know what I mean? So it's like you play, like we've played rooms with like one PA speaker, and then building your audience and then you're playing bell drum and they've got like 180 speakers hanging and you're like, fucking, I wonder what that sounds like. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like what band did I see in the main stage one year? Oh, it's going to annoy me. Franz Ferdinand.
Oh,
Seen them. Nothing against Franz Ferdinand in the slightest. I just think, you know when you're with your mates for maybe too long for a couple of days, and I was just like, this is shite. And I see now when I hear Franz Ferdinand, it just reminds me of shit that moment. But it was nothing against them. It was just you're like you've been partying for 3 days, and I think the last, and you're falling out for everybody. Yeah.
I fucking it is brutal. Like especially camping for 3 days and all. You know what I mean? Like we did the Isle of Wight festival in 2023, and it was like 31 degrees, and it's different when you go to a festival down there because it's like feels like France. So it's like you're not in the Highlands lying on mud and grass anymore. You're on fucking dust, and it's like you're sleeping like that, and you're like it's the hardest floor ever, and it's like everything's so dry because it's so hot. And you go to bed freezing. You wake up in the morning, you're sweating. You know what I mean? It's
the worst hangover ever, when you're sitting there, you're just but it means, I mean, like Belladrum. Honestly, even when you if you had a 10 or when you first went, it's such a big goal to even just get to Belladrum, and then you're playing on the main stage is like such a big achievement. But is there any other like festivals you would go? Oh, I would love to do that. Like I always thought Tina Park was like the biggest one in Scotland, but like now that hasn't been about for like, is it 9 years? When
I'm fucking gutted. We were never old enough to like play Tina Park because when Tina Park finished, I was 14. Cole, you'd have been fucking nappy still.
Aye, definitely.
You like my dad took me there when I was 14, and I went and seen Tina Park, and I seen Jake Bogg and the Art Monkeys and all that, and I was like, this is fucking insane. You know what I mean? It's the best festival I've ever seen. Even the videos, it's absolutely like mesmerizing. Like going to that Tina Park, and everyone's just fucking buzzing with, you know what I mean?
I think like even like the iconic T like Tennant's symbol made it like this is Scotland, this is like the best of the best, and
they had like Eminem and Rihanna and like everyone played it.
Like what's her name? Who did I see one year? Rage Against the Machine, and like this, like you could like I seen the Pogues one night, like I was really wanting to see Pogues, and they're playing in a tent. It was like every band what went there was like amazing, you know. It was
like insane, you know what I mean? Like I'm absolutely gutted that we never got to play it because that was one festival also that had a really good platform for up and coming like grassroots artists because they had two. When I was there, they had Tea Break stage and BBC Introducing stage, and those two stages were only for up and coming artists. So you know, like Neil Maltz played it, and a lot of that when we were growing up and played with when we were supporting in Glasgow and stuff like that growing up, they all played it, and it just looked fucking amazing, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Neil and Wall say like it's quite funny. They were going to do this. I think they're going to do it in a couple of weeks. But I find it so funny because it's such a caithness thing. It's like they made it like they're like a big band, and then what is it like? Where it works? What is it doing kitchens? It means it's like you can get a deal maybe with a kitchen. I just find it funny, because it's like they need to be doing that.
They are like the soundest calls. You know what I mean? Like it's funny when we supported Neil Maltz. We supported them twice. We supported them in their big 3 times now. Twice in the Wick Assembly Rooms and once in King Tut's in Glasgow. And when we supported them in Glasgow and King Tut's, obviously they rock up and there's like 7 of them, and then we rock up and it's just a room in Glasgow full of Caithnesians. You're like sound check, and you're like 1, 2, call. What you saying, boys? It's awesome. They're really great lads. Like we've we've kept in touch with them guys for years. Like you like with Jordan and Darren and Swanee and all that, and Kevin and all the rest. I'm like, I'll message Darren every couple of weeks to ask him about something. You know what I mean? And they're just there for music, man. They're such good lads.
No, like I've been just getting into their stuff now, Ed. Like, because I was going to have them on the podcast a couple of weeks ago, but now it's going to be, don't know, maybe next week. Means I started like I thought, right, I need to learn a little bit. And I was like, oh man, these guys are big, like.
They've done a lot. Like they, fucking hell, I remember I think my brother went and seen them, and they were playing with Catfish and the DMAs.
All right.
They were signed to Noel Gallagher's management label. They've been signed to Atlantic Records, which are one of the biggest labels in the world. They've toured everywhere. You know what I mean? They played America.
Because it was America and I think they're going to do a festival and they dropped out, but I don't know what happened. Means I need to ask them if they do come on this podcast.
Yeah, that was South by Southwest, that one, because there was, so basically what happened, I'll let them explain it more.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Yeah, I'll keep that, but it's a really cool story. It's a really cool story.
Well, I'm just looking through different notes, what I was picking up. What is it? I really love your logo. Your logo, like, to me, mine's Attitude Era WWF.
Yeah.
Or what's that band that was in the 80s? My mind's went blank. I'll come back to me at 12:30 at night.
Is it like Van Halen?
Van Halen,
that's it. You got it.
We also get Weezer sometimes and all.
Nah, man. I see. Even that, I was like, that just reminds me of Attitude Era. I thought,
I fucking love the Attitude Era, man. We were speaking about this the other day. Cole, you're not a wrestling guy.
Never caught me out of that.
You need to get into it.
I think he was too young though. Like when I was growing up, me and my pals, it'd be Jeff Hardy. You know what I mean? And it'd be all like, and it was like Prime, and you had DX and all that, and it was like, this is the coolest shit ever, man. You know what I mean?
Late 90s, early 2000s, wrestling was like, honestly, that's all I watch it. And then even when I got older, I end up doing wrestling. I end up saying, I thought I go along, and then I thought I'd do one match, and then I was like, 3 years later, still doing it, run about Scotland.
It looks fun as fuck, man.
It's good. It's like, that's what I mean with it. Like sometimes like you could go into like, because like you'd be wrestling in a pub, and I liked wrestling in a pub because it was more a carry-on. Instead of like more in the bigger stages. I was like, nah.
You know what's funny about like wrestling as well is I remember when I was I'd been like 9, and I think my mum took us all to fucking wrestling in Wick in the assembly rooms.
All right, yeah.
And it was like 2009 or something like that, and it was, I think, a wrestler came out to TNT by AC/DC. It's the first time I ever heard AC/DC, and I was like, "What's that fucking tune, man?"
Who would that be? Harry Havoc.
He was bald. That's all I remember.
It might be Harry. Yeah, like I was what is it? No, I did a one in caithness as well for a wee while.
Oh really? Yeah.
And then,
it looks fun, man. You know what I mean?
It's good. I think when I got till about 30, I was like, right, I've done this, man. It's like I won't be landing on my back the whole time.
Brutal, man. It's fucking brutal when you see like your way landing a lot.
Yeah, it's like, you know, it's just one of the things. It's like I could lose every match, but it doesn't. It doesn't matter. It's I carry on. Just so as long as the crowd's entertained.
You and you hit a canvas.
Mm-hmm.
What does that actually feel like? You know, if you jump off top rope and hit a canvas.
It's not. What is it like? Your ring's got. It's not much give to it. To be honest, like I know people is like, "Wow, it's like a trampoline." It's like, it's definitely not like a trampoline now. Like
because you hit floor like quite hard. You know what I mean?
Well, it's basically like four poles, and then you got a wood, and then you mind the mats what you used to do roly polies in high school.
Aye.
That's it. That's really all is. That's the only sponge. Means you got to land well. But like it's like even like when they're swinging punches, like you could swing 4 punches, and then one of them all is cloaks. And you're like, oh,
right. Yeah. I seen a video of that the other day, and sometimes people get pissed off and just actually smack each other.
Aye, like it just goes into a shooter.
That's cool. That.
No, I mean that was my thing for a wee while there, and then I was doing what is it, ICW doing ring crew for them for a wee while there.
Oh, really as well, magic man.
I mean, no, that was it. I was like, I just loved the wrestling back in the day.
Aye, no, it looked fun, man.
It was a song. What is it, Hailer? And I always thought it sounded like a western. Like it's got
yeah, Inhaler, yeah.
That,
It's quite a western. The music video we did for that as well, actually, a while back, was like an animation of a western as well.
Is it?
I think it's a verse.
I couldn't get your music videos. I was trying to look for them. Like it was on your website, but I couldn't get to watch them. That was means because I love music videos. Like that's my thing. Like I
love music videos, man. I mean, some of them, like some like Neil Waltz, actually. Remember they did a music video, and the whole thing was Jordan walking backwards through Liverpool for like 3 minutes singing a song. It's fucking nuts, man.
That's a bit like Coldplay. Mine
they did that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fucking. You get some fucking. I love music videos, man. It's just they're bloody expensive. Like they are not cheap.
No, I could imagine. Like again, that's kind of my hobby. I like editing and filmmaking, but like moving back up north is like trying to get people to do it. You know,
Aye.
It's just that thing. Because what's your favorite music videos? What is there any like ones you go, I love that video?
Fuck. Don't know what you thinking, Cole.
I don't know. It's a tough one, isn't it? There's a few that come to mind. Like one that I remember from being wee was Mr. Brightside, The Killers. That one always stuck with me. I just thought that was well cool because I don't know how they get that idea, but it was cool colours and all that. But I think like Ian Brown, Fear and all that, cycling backwards and all that, and I read BMX and stuff, you know.
That's right. I forgot that.
I'm trying to think. What's a fucking? That James Blunt one was cool when he jumped in the sea off that like huge iceberg. I don't know why James Blunt keeps coming back to me like that. Fucking
James Blunt's alright, man.
He gets a lot of stick. I reckon he's sound.
I think he'd be like a gentleman. I think he'd be a right good guy to hang out with.
Yeah, I reckon he's apparently he's funny as fuck as well.
But like I thought, sorry,
what was that, man?
Oh no, like even his voice, he's got like such a like he's got such a different voice. You know, you hear it.
I'm trying to think
a gentle voice. That's what I quite like about it.
Aye, I think I'm not really into Foo Fighters, but the Pretender was a good one. You know, a paintball that went.
Aye,
I can't mind that one.
They had another one. They had was it Everlong or My Hero, where it's like a burning building and that, and they're running into the burning building and they're all playing the.
Yeah.
That was a cool one. I like that one.
A couple of good ones, like.
I watched your documentary as well, and this is when I think you first got signed, or it's maybe your first album, and you're way a guy who what is he? He seemed like he's got loads of life experience in him. Like he was doing the accordion studio for you.
He's been everywhere, man. That's a guy called Ken Allardyce, and he's recorded. He's done Green Day, Weezer, Madonna. He's absolutely pretty much like that era. Anyone that passed through town in LA, I think he recorded, which is mad. You know what I mean? Like he's got some knowledge and all that kind of stuff as well. And he's a great guy as well. Really, really great guy. And we learned a lot from him as well. And it's just, you know, that was a cool experience at all. You know what I mean? Just learning, absorbing.
Yeah, because I was going to say, like, even like having him do like a accordion for you is amazing. Like I watched the documentary, and it was quite funny because he was speaking about your mic, and he's like, "Oh, they're about $5,000." He usually say the most caithness thing. You, Jesus, like that. You know, like I was just laughing at it. You know, but And that again, there was a guy cutting a bit with sambas on it. Means I was like, oh, I clocked that straight away, yeah.
Not even a good one. It's probably fake sambas.
But even a fishbowl lens was quite smart, because that was like, I mind my skating videos. I was like, I mind loads of skating videos having the fish.
Aye, that used to be the thing, didn't it?
Yeah.
I do like a fish lens.
Aye. Well, I was going to speak about you getting signed. Means like when did that happen? Was that and how was that feeling?
Yeah, it was cool, man. It was so I think we started recording when we were 18. Was it 19? I think it was about 19. And that was a really cool it was just a really cool experience, you know. It was again, like, we learned a lot from Ken himself, you know what I mean, like, and you know, musicianship and performance and production and all that kind of stuff. I think that was the coolest thing we brought away from it, was the, you know, the learning of, you know, how to be in a studio and how to perform and how to get in the zone of performing. Because, you know, a lot of people, it's a strange one, because when you're in the studio, everyone's like, you rock in, you do a take, and then you fuck off. But it's like, that's when you're really like, you're absolutely picking apart everything to do with a song, and it's got to be absolutely perfect. So, like, even the vocal lines, you know, you can use auto-tune and all that kind of stuff, but, you know, the way we were taught was, you know, by like Ken himself, was, you know, you have to get a magic take, and you're better off doing that 100 times over than getting close and then just tuning it in. Do you know what I mean? Like, all that kind of, I think that's the attitude we learned from recording was the coolest part. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, it's like how did you get signed? Was it were you thrown out to different labels, or did you get headhunted? Yeah.
We met it was an indie label. We met it was Ken that ran it with his co-partner, and back when I think we did a battle of bands and we won that battle of bands, and they basically created it to, you know, just to kind of see where it could go and stuff like that. So, like, to do the album and all that kind of stuff. So I think it was in there, we did it at battle bands, and then we met them, and then it kind of developed from there, really.
Because I can mind battle of bands and caithness. I mean,
I did that and all. Like, when I was, me and Jamie were in a band. We weren't even called Forgetting the Future then, but we did Thurso High School Battle of the Bands, and we played Damn It, Boulevard of Broken Dreams, and Coming Over by Royal Blood as well. And Jamie's hair, he had long hair, you know what I mean? He was a shape, but and you know what I mean, I had the worst bowl cut of my life, you know what I mean? Like a diarrhea wimpy kid or something like that. And then Andy McLeod, he ran it all. And he still runs it actually as well. He brought that back and stuff like that. And I've seen videos of fucking Thurso High School doing it in the 90s. You know what I mean? Like in the 80s.
Sorry, yeah. What was that?
No, sorry, man.
No, it's just when you said Battle of the Bands, I know a few people who are in the Battle of the Bands, and it was like he was in Wick High School, or I was in Thurso High School. It was just, and it was like it's just been a thing up here for years, like but like,
yeah, it's great, man. We're doing a big caithness gig soon in June.
All right, I was just looking at it. Like, I love a poster. Like, a poster's amazing. Like,
that was Beldrum, that one as well.
Yeah, like that flag was just perfect. It was like there's just like a sea of people there.
Oh, it was so sick, man. It was so. I got a cheeky crowd surf as well, a couple of spanks. Goes in, you know. But I know. So I'm gonna go. We're doing that gig, and we're gonna go up, and Andy's organised for us to come into high school and play a couple of songs for the younger students that are into music and stuff like that, to, you know, hopefully inspire. The whole point of doing it is to kind of encourage them to come along, so that, you know, they're aware that, you know, local music can happen in Caithness and stuff like that. So, you know, like, we're going to go up and speak to the students, play a couple of songs, and, you know, encourage them to actually just kind of pursue it and stuff like that, because, like, it's a shame that, like, not, like, many more people do get into it and actually think it, you know, it's a career. You know what I mean? It can actually be a career, and it can be a career that earns more than 90% others, depending on how far you get. You know what I mean? But I think it's the risk that, you know, because of you're in a small town, you are miles away. You've got geographically challenged. You know what I mean? Like, you're starting in a town that's got 12,000 people, rather than a band that started in Glasgow, which is fucking, you know, like, I don't know how many people are in Glasgow, at least 20. And then, like, you've got all these people to spring to your gigs, and they're used to coming to gigs, and it happens a lot more naturally. But, like, the likes of Thursday on that, when we were going up, it was really difficult, because you'd have to find a bar that would let you play, because it wasn't very common. And then you'd have to get people to come along for the music, instead of just for like a match of piss up and stuff like that. And we got really lucky, because a lot of people, we started playing pubs when we were younger in Mr. C's, and they let us come in and play. And you know, we weren't old enough to be in pubs and stuff like that back in the day, but we were old enough to be allowed to play them. And then we got like a bunch of like local culls and all that started just showing up mosh pit, and like older people that, you know, like loads of people that still follow us to this day and stuff like that. And then, yeah, just to go up and basically just encourage them, because it is a shame, because I know there's a lot of young people up in Caithness that, you know, want to get involved with something like that, but there just isn't the facilities to get involved. And not as many people to get involved with as well. We've been really lucky. We when we were kind of starting to rehearse, when we were becoming a proper band, Brian that owns Skin Andy's, he let us jump in skins and let us rehearse for free, you know, like whenever we want, for as long as we want. And that really, really helped us, you know, like kind of form our sound, and, you know, like master kind of playing live and stuff like that. Because without that, we'd have been playing in my fucking garage in Castle Green, you know what I mean? Like, up in just dead still there, but up in Thurso in a garage, pissing neighbours off, and you're like shoulder to shoulder with people.
Yeah,
and
with egg boxes on the wall.
What's that?
With egg boxes on the wall, you know, like
just trying to put duvets up and shit like that, you know what I mean? And having something like that is just like, there needs to be more of that, you know what I mean? Because it's, you know, I mean, I don't know how the fuck I'd do without music, you know what I mean? And it's brought me to a lot further already than I thought I'd ever have come with it. And then we've still got so much more to do still, and we're still, you know what I mean, we're still young, and we're still getting these mental opportunities, and we've signed a management deal, and, you know, we managed to sell out gigs in Edinburgh and Aberdeen and Inverness and fucking London and all this shit now, you know what I mean? And it's...
Have you got to London now? Because I was on a, what is it? One I was watching, it was like, that was one of your goals there. And he was like, I really would like to play in London.
Yeah, man. That we did our first ever London headline 2 weeks ago.
Cool, man.
That was fucking cool, man. We've played London once or twice, on like showcases and stuff like that, and like kind of industry stuff, which, you know, like, you've got more industry, you know, you've got like booking agents and labels and all that, so it's not like a gig, you know, you've got that are really like analyzing you, and they're kind of like, you like, I can't tell if you fucking hate me or if you like this, you know what I mean? And it's like a lot of that kind of stuff. And then yeah, man, and that like, to actually be able to headline it, and we didn't know what to expect, did we? We were like,
no, that was kind of one of the ones where you don't know if you want to look out to the crowd or not, you know what I mean? But
yeah, funny enough, that one as well, I could not see the crowd.
No, neither.
No, I could not see a thing, but we didn't know what to expect, and we were like, is there going to be anyone here? You know what I mean? Like, fucking, we're 8 hours south of the border, you know what I mean? Another fucking 8 hours north You know what I mean? We're like 12 hours away from Thurso at least. You know what I mean? And then we turn.
I think what's daunting about that and all is like what I've found playing in Scotland at least is the further north you go, the better the crowd. I've found.
All right.
The more everybody engages, not the better the crowd maybe, but the more likely people are to enjoy themselves. You know what I mean? Jump about a bit. And my worry always was that if we're going far down south, then it's going to be people just standing about wishing they were home. You know. But I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know about you, Rob, but I thought the reception in London was absolutely amazing.
Oh, it was fantastic. It was, you know, like a lot of people. Well, our first ever gig in London, headline gig, 90% of that crowd have never seen us live before. So I think being able to, you know, like put on a show like that, we had our sound engineer Neil down with us, and he made us sound fucking amazing. You know what I mean? He's shit hot. We had our guitar tech Sam. He made he was doing lighting for us, and he had everything on lock. And having stuff like that and being able to do that in London for the first time with the situation we're in now was like fucking game changer, man. And we turned up, and it was fucking packed, and it was absolutely packed, and it was like, what the fuck is going on? You know what I mean? And there was some like really, really big industry people there as well. It was fucking cool, man. It was a big dream.
I was just going to say about it because it's just like bits of like I was watching and I thought Liverpool is really cool because the whole sort of Beatles thing and you know like that's sort of like a staple and in like London, it's just like you know for coming from a small town up north and even if it was again it was a pub around the corner, but just a pack out that place is amazing.
Oh, I mean, it doesn't matter where it is. I think it's wherever it is, if it's packed out, it's like it's gonna be a fucking fun one. You know what I mean?
But like going back, what you're saying about caithness is like it's really good. You're going up there to like show like you can make it in the music because it is that stigma, like what we were saying earlier on, like you know, like dreams die after you're like your early 20s. You know, like if you haven't, you know, you kind of just go and get a job like what you call it, plumber or whatever, like a trader. But the problem is, I think up in caithness it's not a bad thing. It's just like what you're saying. It's like there's no recording studios. It's nothing.
Yeah.
Like I asked a few bands and they're playing in like what is it, old building? You know, like you know, is this? I think there's one recording studio, somebody's back garden. But that's all.
I mean, it's a shame. You know what I mean? It's like you know that I know there's a lot of really good recording engineers in Caithness, but you wouldn't know about it because there's no commercial studios. So there's a lot of like home studios and stuff like that. People have renovated their house and that, but because there isn't any commercial studios, you don't fucking hear about it. You know what I mean? And I think growing up in Caithness, one thing I wish like fucking someone came up and said like, you know, it is fucking possible. You know what I mean? Because you know, you do get kind of pushed to go for like a welding job or a fucking bricky job or something like that, and you're like, I'll play a comm every couple of weeks, you know what I mean, and stuff. And playing a comm's fucking brilliant, you know what I mean? If that's something, you know, I mean, that is fucking sick because it is lethal crack playing pubs. It's just banging, you know what I mean? I fucking love it. But you know, actually wanting to pursue a career in music, being from Caithness, nobody fucking talks about it. Nobody tells you how you could go about doing it. Nobody tells you that, you know, any sort of like you're on your own. You know what I mean? You have to figure out and for yourself and stuff like that. And I think, you know, when we were growing up, we faced a lot of kind of issues because I mean not issues, but like there was a lot of opportunities that we didn't get because we were from Thurso, because people would kind of think, you know, I'd book that band because they sound great, but you know they live 6 hours away from Glasgow, so how many tickets are they going to be able to sell realistically? And you know, like that kind of stuff's really difficult because you know a band in Glasgow could, you know, be fucking, they put on their first gig, and because they can bring 100 people into a room, they'll get like punted on a support for like a band that's actually established and playing the O2 or something like that because of that. Like like when we were going up, we sold out skins like a couple of times, like 300 tickets when we were like 17, 18. And, you know, it was a fucking amazing gig. But like industry opportunities, we've got fuck all, nothing. Do you know what I mean? Because, you know, like it's so far away. But I've recently, when I started working with our manager Gav, he's from Southampton, you know what I mean? So he's never even been to Thurso. But when we started working with Gav, he's like really switched on. He's been working in industry for like 30 years and he's seen everything and he's worked with everyone, you know what I mean? And he was like, we were at the point where we're like, do we say when we're applying for festivals and shit, do we say we're from Glasgow? Do we like do that to try and get them? And he was like, nah. He's like, fuck that. He was like, that's like the coolest part about your band is that you are from somewhere like Thurso and you're still managing to sell out like Glasgow and you're still managing to write and produce these like amazing tunes and stuff like that. And you know, he was the one that kind of put me on to the ideas like, you know, let's fucking be proud of it, you know what I mean? And, you know, even if there's no opportunities up there, just fucking, you know, you got to try and make them yourself. And then, you know, like if there's anything I can do to help like younger people up in Thurso who were in the same position I fucking do it, you know what I mean? Because you
That's
are
good.
so in the dark.
Yeah. No, it's really good because it is like I was saying, like West podcast when I moved up, it was like here's a platform, this rant for hour until
Really, man.
yeah.
Crack as well.
The other bit was your voice was like how did it come about? Like you know when you started singing, you go, all right, I might touch you up this way, or I might this is my influence, or was it you always had that sort of voice and it's just
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's a weird one because I think depending on who you listen to, that shapes your voice a lot. You know, depending on what you're exposed to, shapes your voice a lot. You know, I know people that, you know, like speaking voice are very, you know, like very soft and speaking voice, and then they'll sing and I'll be like fucking husky as fuck. And you're like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? And I think it's really cool because it depends what you're exposed to. Because, you know, if you're listening to bands like that, you're gonna sing like that because it's what you know. There's a lot of like, you know, I think I've heard people talking about singers that sing with a different, like, you know, like, oh, he fucking sounds American or he sounds so and so when he sings, and I'm like, it doesn't matter what you sound like, you know what I mean? As long as as long as it's in pitch,
yeah.
as long as you're no shite, it's fine. You know what I mean?
But even being it is, I don't know. This is just my take on it. Is like as long as you got some sort of venom or sort of like you know like what's the word, confidence that you can pull it off a wee bit, yeah. Because it's like Shane McGowan, he never had a good voice, but like you just know that was a voice for the Pogues, you know.
Yeah. I mean, you could anything could be pulled off. You know what I mean? As long as you put a bit of passion into it. You know what I mean? Like, as long as you're not half arse in it, it's fucking. Yeah, I mean, like most of the best bands in the world, like fucking, none of them are that great when you look at them on paper and stuff like that. But when the way they execute it is fucking phenomenal. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I know it's cool, man. No, like what is it? Means is this your second album? No, or
so we've released one when we were younger, but we're what we're doing now is we're going for like singles and stuff like that. Obviously, because the way Spotify, you know, the game changes every fucking day. You know what I mean? In the industry, so we've been working on some new material. Cole's first kind of recording as well.
Yeah.
Aye.
So a bunch of that stuff, and yeah, man, just building audiences wherever we can, whenever we can, and trying to release the best music we can as well. It's just pretty much
it's good,
all
man.
you can do.
It's like
dick, that helps and all, you know.
What's that, sorry?
And not being a dick helps too.
Oh, I don't think you're a dick, man, in the slightest. Like,
you can say it,
no, it was even with me texting back and forth. I thought this guy seems really sound, man.
Oh, cheers, mate. I'll take it.
Yeah.
My mum will be buzzing with that, like.
But it's like your first album. It's like you're working your whole life for that first album, and then it must be hard for a second album because like you've done years of like crafting this first album into a perfect piece, or do you find that second album just comes off a bit more flow, more easy, or?
Yeah, see, I think depending on your situation, like if you're the likes of the Art Monkeys and you're fucking, what were they, 18 when they dropped their first album, and it went so well that maybe like a year or two after that, then their label's like, next album now. Something like that, you would struggle. I think you would be like, fucking hell, I mean, the demand for it, like especially with someone like the Art Monkeys when they blew up, they've got major labels demanding that they give them another album within a couple of weeks, and it's like, fuck. But I think now it's kind of slightly changed because the way artists release now is more singles, and it's more staccato, and it's like it's in bits and drips and drabs and stuff like that, rather than you do, if you are big enough, then albums are great and stuff like that. But I think because you've got like social media and all that, you can pop a bit here, you could sing a chorus that you wrote on TikTok and get bit drips and drabs and all that, and you see more of the process and stuff like that, rather than like back in the 90s where it was just like you didn't hear from a band unless you seen them live.
Yeah.
You see them get a show.
You're right. I was just going to ask you. You think it's better now being signed, or if you're up and coming, or you think 90s was maybe better because like you might be in top of pops, and if that was it. Like mind the band Wait. They had one song, and that song's 30 years ago, and they still like they live off that song.
It is mental. I think it's a hard one. It's there's not half the money there used to be in the music industry. What I mean? There is. It's all run by like fucking businessmen and stuff now, and there are some fucking really great people in the music industry, but a lot of the people that kind of run it or kind of try and bring you in will be mostly people that kind of do want to just make money off you. Mm-hmm. And as an artist, you don't actually make as much as a fucking label do, or you know what I mean? Like, you're basically spending a lot of the time paying off an album or something like that. You know what I mean? But saying that now, artists have way more, will to actually be independent and do what they want to do, because you can fucking set up, like, I got a pair of speakers here and a wee interface, and you can record your demo, and you can save up, and you record it, and you get a massive like professional production and that for not an incredible amount of money these days. You can get a fucking app where you can design your art cover for it, and you can punt it on socials and stuff like that. And if it's good enough, it'll fly as well. But like back in the day, you'd sell a CD for like 10 or 15 quid. And if someone sold 1 million copies on that, you're fucking multi-millionaire. But, like these days, a stream on a song is 0.01 of a penny.
That's mental.
It's horseshit, you know what I mean? It's fucking nuts, man. It is criminal. It's criminal, like the way like Spotify work and all that. And it's weird because I fucking use Spotify all the time as well. But like the way everything's set up, and you kind of get around it. You know what I mean? So I think in ways it's better now, but in ways it was better before. I don't know. What's your take on that, Cole?
Absolutely. I think it's a really good question because, in my experience anyway, I've seen that there's a lot of pros and cons to both. Like just now and then in the 90s or whatever. Like if 4 boys for Thurso were in the 90s and were trying to get themselves out there and get noticed, it would be way harder at that point than it is now. I mean, you've got Instagram, you've got TikTok, you've got all this social media where, I mean, you get a lucky video and then you've got 60 million people that see you, as opposed to the, like you said, 16,000 or whatever it is in Thurso. But that also means that you're now competing with so many more people as well. There's hundreds of people doing that. There's one platform, millions of people trying to push the same thing that you are. So I think it's a difficult one, really. I mean,
that's I like you're right. I think like because you said maybe years ago, if you did get found out, you're a big fish in a small pond. But now because it's been over, no, is it oversaturated? Or it's just loads of people doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's loads of good platforms. Yeah, it's a hard one. It's just I was speaking to somebody the other week about it, and I thought it's a good question to ask. What's the difference? Because I know when me doing video and somebody like you can post it out there and then what is it? Yeah, aye, just the same sort of idea. You know, you make no money in it.
Nah,
Aye.
Yeah. Thanks for your time, by the way. Yeah, I'm like,
for having me, man. It's been fucking
uh, what is it? Is there any since you've been in a band? Has there been any times when it's like, oh, this is just bad times, or been a bit stressful, or
Yeah, I mean, you know, like fucking, you know, being in a band, I think it's all about that. You know, you come into, you know, pockets of you know, like shite mares. You get a lot of shite mares. And you know, we've had our fair few, you know, I mean, even recently and through the years and stuff like that. And I think it's, you know, you're always going to run into that kind of shit. You know what I mean? You're always like, doesn't matter where you are, you know what I mean, or what industry you are. But I think it's tricky as a band as well because up and coming bands don't make money. Do you know what I mean? Like, you don't have you don't have as much stability, and you have to when you're a young lad coming from fucking Thurso, and your mother or father isn't fucking minted, you know, like you've got a hand, you've not got much to work with. You know what I mean? Like trying to gig 6 hours away every weekend and trying to afford that and stuff like that is fucking hard. You know what I mean? So I think when you run into problems, it's really hard to. It can be hard to fucking be like, oh fuck it, it's fine. You know what I mean? But I think you've got to be a wee bit fucking crazy to pursue a career in music these days. So you have to kind of not deluded. You know what I mean? You got to be a bit tweaked to actually stick with it throughout. Like all the shit that you're gonna go through, and there is a lot of shit. We're still, we've managed to do a lot of incredible things, but we still think we're at the start of our career. You know what I mean? Like, and we've already gone through a lot of shit. Do you know what I mean? And I think you can't be afraid of the bad stuff. It's gonna like bumps in the road and stuff like that because they're gonna appear. You know what I mean? And especially in an industry where a lot of people take the piss as well, because there are a lot of grey areas where there are no rules. So yeah, I mean, it's
is that like people trying to like take advantage, like like get money off you, like sort of like sign with this label deal, but you got to make so many.
I see it all the time, man. It happens to millions of artists. You know what I mean? I've heard horror stories with even bands I know and stuff like that, and then bigger band stuff. So many artists have just been like, "What the fuck do we do now?" Do you know what I mean? Like, what is the next steps? But there's always a way through it. You know what I mean? There's always a way through it, and I think I like being in a band. With Cole and Sam and Jim. Like, these boys are like my best pals. So like, if you go through something pretty shit, you can all sit down together and be like, "Oh, that was a bit pish." You know what I mean? Like, you can talk to each other. But if you're a solo artist, that's probably got to be pretty fucking hard. You know what I mean? But I think the biggest, we've all got great families that help us with whatever we're going through. Or we've got our manager Gav, who is probably more a therapist at some points than anything else. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you have to expect it. You have to expect it, and just not just fucking put on a brave face and deal with it. You've got to go through it and stuff like that. But you have to remind yourself that it's like fucking natural, and you're gonna go through a lot of shit because it's a weird industry. But at the end of the day, if you're not in the music industry until you get fucked over at some point. You know what I mean?
But even these must be like full of people, like cutthroat people, and sort of like egos must get in the way. Not meaning your band. This is meaning like other people. What?
Oh yeah. I mean, we're lucky enough because we only really work with people we want to. Do you know what I mean? Like, we've got a really good team built up. and like the likes of our sound engineer, he's a guy from Thurso, and he's sound as fuck, literally. And our guitar tech, he's another lad from Thurso. And then Cole, obviously we met him, we made sure that he wasn't, a freak before we got him in the band. And then the same with our drummer Sam and our manager Gav and all that. We all really, we fucking respect each other so much because we all bring everything to the table, and everyone's sound as fuck, man. You know what I mean? I think you've got to bring something to the table, but you've also got to be sound as fuck. And if you're working with someone that's making your life a bit of a nightmare, then get him the fuck. You know what I mean? Like, what's the point in having to deal with that for a little bit extra of some area?
Yeah. Cole, you be same with a few bands you've been in there. You probably felt that a lot.
It's a funny one because when you're working in the creative industries, you're working in an industry where there is literally never a right answer, and it's all opinion based. You know what I mean? So some music that I like, somebody else might not like. So I think the most important thing is to just know and understand that, and be able to shake it off if you play a gig and some promoter thinks that it was rubbish. You know what I mean? Because he doesn't like the sound of your music. That doesn't matter. You're doing your own thing. The next one that you do, they might love it. You know what I mean? Like,
that's such a good way to think, because I know, like, when I do something creative, like if I get bad criticism, like you could have, say, 10 people what like it, and if there's one person or two people that go, that's fucking shite, as the two people it sticks in the back of your mind.
That's what you remember,
One more question. Sorry, I'm taking up your whole night.
No, go ahead.
What is it? Sorry, man. I don't want to be taking up too much your night.
I know. I'm glad you're doing something else.
What is it? Any goals? What goals are your future? You go, I really would love to nail that.
Oh, goals probably be really, really looking forward to doing a lot more, a lot of touring in Europe. Okay. So I really want to. We've been looking at it for recently and stuff like that. Looking at opportunities and stuff like that. We looking how to make it happen and stuff like that. And doing something like that, that's one of my goals, to build a fan base in Europe. Because it's a free holiday, you know what I mean? And I think just my goal is to, make sure that I'm trying not to sound cringy as fuck. Do you know what I mean? I think I love selling out gigs. You know what I mean? I like seeing the numbers. I like seeing the people. I like seeing heads, and I like seeing people in the crowd that are like, fucking right, let's go. You know what I mean? So, and we've already started doing it on grassroots level. You know what I mean? Like in cities around the UK and stuff like that. At 200 to 300 capacity and stuff like that. So just building it up to the thousands is my goal, and just building something that is pretty much unstoppable. I think is what I want to do.
Yeah, and you're compared to most people, you already made it. You've done so much in such a short space of time. I mean, nobody's seen how long it's took, years, but even what's that, 4 years since record label, or 5 year.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny as well, because you're always in a rush in a band. I think as an artist, you're always in a rush to make it happen before you're 30 or before you're 40 or before you're, you know what I mean? But I think most recently it's really fucking cool, because you got a lot of bands like Lottery Winners, and bands like that, and they're a bit older than the conventional age that someone would blow up, and they've just fucking hit 2 #1 albums. You know what I mean? And it's really fucking refreshing to see that shit, because that narrative was created by labels back in the 90s, because they were what's marketable, someone young, but you're not even fucking developed until you're 25 to 30. You know what I mean? You're not even there really.
I was going to say, like, I think my 30s has been far better than my 20s. Like, I think your 20s, you do so many silly mistakes, and then your 30s, you kind of go, all right, I know what I'm doing now.
Aye, that's probably why a lot of people fall apart in their 20s when they get too big and stuff, and it's like, what the fuck? But I think just fucking, you know, everyone's in a rush, so it's just making sure you're fucking enjoying it, innit? I don't know, what's your goals, boy?
My goals, well, what is it? Right now is just move. Well, I moved back up north, and I thought I do this podcast for like this artist, this look because it's definitely such a big arts in caithness, and I just think it'd be good to have a voice for like that's why like if I'm speaking. And like I'm trying not to speak over the top of any of you because I want you to be like, you know, chatting about yourselves. Nobody wants to hear me, you know, and just letting people have a platform to, like, you know, speak about whatever art they do. And that's my thing. But like mine's is been making videos. Like as if I need to do more onto the creative side.
Quite right, man. I think it's cool as well because like when I seen your email about doing this, I was like, fucking someone from caithness wants to do a podcast. You know, like fucking right. You know what I mean?
Nobody's doing that up here, and I think
and like not at all, man. And like it's so fucking. I love it, man. It's like actually seeing shit going on up north. You know what I mean? Because you know, what I mean, like I love cities. Like we've been to these fucking mental cities, and we played in Ireland and everything like that. But I fucking love Thurso and caithness. You know what I mean? It's great.
Yeah.
What's your goals, Cole?
Yeah, I think you kind of got it right, didn't you? Like we're definitely a band. I know everybody says it, and I know that everybody should think it, but we definitely appreciate our fan base a lot, man. Like totally, it's a make it or break it for us. Gig wise, we get a real buzz out knowing that people are enjoying it. So I think just expanding that as far as we can, whether that's Europe or America or even just doubling it in the UK, you know. Well, I think that's our kind of main goal on it.
Yeah, that's good, man. Means I'm definitely going to buy tickets when you're coming up to Wick because I thought it was in Wick, but you changed it to First One now, eh?
Yeah. So just we've had to change it to Thursday because of just like logistical reasons and that because we were gonna do assembly rooms and stuff like that, but there was a couple of things that was like, you know, like with production and stuff that was making it like just really hard to figure out and stuff like that because obviously we've got to take it's an empty hall, so we got to take everything from down the line up north and rig it and all that kind of stuff. So we were like, let's logistically it's going to be a nightmare. So we're going to do it in Skins now. So it's fucking buzzing, man. Yeah, you should come along. It'll be great.
I'll definitely be along.
Get you in a mosh pit.
I start a mosh pit definitely with it. Oh well, thanks again for doing this, and hopefully when you're up in caithness, give me a shout. We can do it live.
Yeah, definitely, man.
On the way back.
I know. That's one of my goals. To get a yours like.
Yeah.
But no, we'll get a pint or something like that when we're up the road, man, and we'll definitely get a catch up on Thursday as well.
Perfect. Well, thanks to both of you, and good luck in the future.
Yeah, thanks very much. Cheers for having us.
Thank you. Cheers for having us, mate.
That's Gordon, all right.
Ooh.
Hello.
Oh, hi, mate.
How's things?
I like your office.
I know. Well, this is actually my living room, but it's a picture, and that's a picture of Wick. Giving it a 90s feel,
Is it actually?
Aye.
Oh fuck! I thought the mic was like not real as well.
No.
Right.
I thought I give it a Saturday Night Live feel. That's what I'm going for.
That's brilliant, man. I thought that whole thing was like a filter.
No. That's my living room. It's just when I changed the window, that was a green screen, and then I did a picture of Wick. But
that's banging it.
Because I didn't. Sorry, but.
Anyway, mate.
Aye, fine. Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, for asking us, man. Yeah, no, I'm fucking a buzzing, but got to fucking. I was up in Thurso like A week and a half ago, but I was up at fleeting visit, just up and back down again, back down the road because me and Jamie live in Glasgow now just because of touring and stuff like that. So it's just like because we were up and down like London and all that, so it was like the 6 hours extra. It's just like
it's like even Inverness. It's like you see when you get Inverness and you're like, oh, I've got another 3 hours. You know, like
brutal.
We're still mucking about with this. This is new to me. This Skype caller.
Oh yeah. No, I've done a few of them. They're not too like bad and stuff like that. So it usually sounds pretty good, I think, actually.
No, because we did who did we interview last week? Fisher, and we did it in my house, and it was I was a laugh man. I think I was just wanting to party with them. I was like,
aye, they're cully like